Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone watching this second out of the three sessions of this 2021 Earth Summit from Ogbako Ishi Obi Biafra, and with ultimate humility, honesty, and reverence. All thanks go to CHIUKWU Okike who made it possible for us to live to see this great day of June 20, 2021, which He has made. Now, there is a paradigm shift that took place yesterday, being a king or other. It happens to be the day that replaced the ceremony of this Saturn, as well as the moon and sun. Therefore, yesterday was a very big day, and that we all have the great privilege to witness for the return of the Igbo calendar. But before we continue, we have to traditionally pray in the language of heaven, as was done by our Yahusha. Saying, Nna anyị ka ebi n'eluigwe, ka aha gị dị nsọ, ka alaeze gị bịa, ka eme uche gị n'ụwa a dị ka esi eme n'eluigwe. Nye anyị taa nke mbọsị anyị, gbaghara anyị mmehie anyị dị ka anyị si gbaghara ndị mehiere anyị, site na enyemaka gị. Ma edubakwala anyị ihe ọnwụnwa ọbụla, ekwela anyị daba n'ihe ọnwụnwa ọbụla, mana zọpụta anyị n'ajọ ihe niile, n'ihi na alaeze uke gị, ike na otito wu nke gị, ugbu a na ebi mgbe niile, ebi 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 ebi. Ise, ise, ise. Now, in this second session, I would like us to use this opportunity to recap one of the most important topics of the last session, which is knowing the identity of devil, so that we do not be trapped into making ourselves one. And as I mentioned before, the first is liar. A liar is when somebody calls you a liar, and he sticks, and you are really a liar. You don't need anybody to call you devil or demon. When you are deceiving people, cunning people, doing things that are evil to people, oppressing people, taking their stuff, stealing, and you think you're being smart or slick and crafty and cunning, you don't need nobody to call you devil. When you are disobedient to the law, and the constitution that CHIUKWU OKIKE and his Igbo people gave the world to live safely and live well. It is like putting your hand in a 3,600 revolving shaft and expecting that he is not going to cut you. You don't need anybody to call you devil. When you are an accuser, traveling up and down on earth, looking for what to do to accuse the person or people who would have otherwise been innocent. You don't need nobody to call you devil. When you are a coward, looking for people within a nation, weak and evil people within a nation, using them to destroy their people, destroy their nation, so you can go and take their things and rob them blind and take their land or take their property, take your oil, take their gas. Both of you must not wait for anybody to call you devil, because you are devil. And a coward. And when you are sitting down in one place making billions of dollars in an organization, playing and sleeping from hotel to hotel, and making more money than almost everybody that works in that company, doing nothing but cheating and conniving, who are you but devil and lazy? When you want the whole world for yourself, you create an organization that control money and control who get punished or sanctioned or who don't, who get criminalized, whether innocent or not, but being against the law yourself. What do you call yourself other than devil? When you are stealing people, taking things from people, being selfish, you go take people's property, you steal something that doesn't belong to you, take something that doesn't belong to you, and you give it all kind of baptism, national security for a country or an empire which is a place of so many nations bunched together. But with your so-called intelligence and education, you still calling it national. You still calling a big bunched up oppressed people a nation, a single nation. So what is good is this your education and your wisdom and knowledge. What you making yourself is devil. You don't need nobody to call you that. A thief. When you go wanna be Chineke, you want to play the creator to every other person, you are nothing but impostor. And you don't need nobody to call you neither that nor Satan or devil, but yourself. When you are impatient and rushing into wars, rushing into taking things from people, going into your unilateral wars and sanctions of innocent people that claims the life of many children, innocent people, women, sick, old, without conscience. What are you but devil? You don't need nobody to call you devil. When you're greedy, you want this, you want that, everything for yourself. You want Biafran oil. You want to make automobile and sell it to make your money. You want to take the pipe to take oil from Biafra people, and you piping it to the Middle East for yourself, claiming you just found oil, you just found a big huge gas deposit, thinking that nobody sees you, not that CHIUKWU OKIKE does not see you, and what you call yourself, but devil. When you are in a lust, you want every woman all by yourself, unmarried, making illegitimate babies all over the place, babies that you wanted, you don't want, but then you want to kill them, and then you want to reduce population. Does that make sense? The innocent. What do you call yourself? If not devil. When you arrogate yourself with all the big titles and all the phony, lazy titles, what do you call yourself? You don't need nobody to call you demon or devil. When you do all this evil stuff, all this arrogance, this level of arrogance, and when you're caught, you go into denial. Oh no, that's for national security. That's for, we gave you colonialism. So you're going to pay colonial tax for people who showed you how to get out of the dark ages and never charge you a penny. What do you call yourself? But devil and demons. When you go and get all the countries you're hiding into, making all these phony geographical expressions you call country and hiding behind them to do all this wicked stuff, and everybody blaming everybody in that geographic expression. Oh, Britain. Oh, France. Oh, Germany. Oh, America. And everybody sit down. It's our country. We're not going to say a thing. We're not going to be pays back or lack of patriotism. Oh no. How can you do that without, calling yourself, knowing that you're calling yourself the devil? When you hear the truth, you're upset and complain. Oh, it is a hate speech. It is not tolerable. It's not respecting authority. Whose authority? Making yourself the Most High. For somebody telling you this is wrong, let's not do this, so we can all live in harmony on this earth. So we do not have to be reducing population and killing innocent people with all kind of tricks and cunning ways. And the denying, claiming that we're not murderers, it's war, it's this, it's that. No. You are calling yourself devil. When you are doing all this, instigating wars, and in spite of all this, not realizing that you smell, that your evil smell on you like a rotten egg. And then you take all cologne and they spraying all over the place. And the whole people, the Most High, thinking that the Most High and his people don't smell it. You are a devil. Have you ever been in a bush before and where a snake molded out his skin? You will stay about 3 yards or 4 or 5 or more and smell the smell of the serpent, the smell of Satan. And you think people do not, the innocent people do not be, finding it repugnant. You the one calling yourself devil without knowing it. If you are always rushing to war, unilaterally killing and massacring innocent children, doing all kind of manners of atrocities in the name of war and battle, shock and awe, lying on the desert sand, and you boast about it, being a warmonger. You want to take who is this CHIUKWU OKIKE that is sending you to Biafra land to defecate on his sacred lands for you to take over and killing people in the Middle Belt, great men, great people of Kush, Ibagi, Nupe, great people that nobody ever dared challenge. Igbo, Yoruba, Bini, Ashanti, Ethiopia, great nations of Zimbabwe. And you want to take their lands. Mozambique, you want to take their lands. What does that make you? Why are you not smelling yourself? What do that make you other than Satan, devil? You don't need nobody to call you that. And when you go and be tempting people, you want to tempt, oh, okay, he think he is Black Moses. And then we're going to show the world that he is a dirty man. He's not good. We're going to make everybody tear his personality and who he is up. Oh, we're going to kill him. And then what you call yourself? There's nobody calling you devil but yourself. When you go around monging for war and murdering people and calling it war, you are a murderer, just like the devil. So how can we, where do you belong in this? Where do you fit in this? This is the question we all, including myself, have to ask ourselves. When we find this and shut up and don't say anything, not standing up like Pastor Patrick telling his people to zip their mouth. If they want to for oppressing the children of the Most High, that they need to shut up. When you do not act like a Miss Thunberg, Greta Thunberg, and go inside the place where the so-called evildoers and the devils are ravishing the world, to tell them that, look, this is what you're doing. To call you a liar, that means you don't know. So that means you don't know what she called you. And all you do is trying to find a way to, nose on her and try to make her look bad. If for those of us who sit back and watch evil ravishing the earth that we live in, trying to polluting all the oceans and rivers full all over the places, but spending billions of dollars trying to find a drop of water in mass. What does that make you, brothers and sisters? These are questions we have to ask each and every one of us to be happy. But this has to be done by being lawful. Lawful to the Constitution and the law and the government that you claim that Igbos gave the word, and they're not twisting it around. Well, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not that, without saying, if you do this, this is what the CHIUKWU OKIKE and his people say it will be the punishment. Rather than bring me all your wicked and all your mean and all your misfit. And then years later, you start looking for population reduction, in which you will be destroying the innocent instead of starting with yourself. Now, I have somebody sent me something yesterday. One of the Biafra agitators, comrade, sent me this from Dallas yesterday. That a very rational piece from Chukwuemeka Ojukwu Jr. asking, warning Igbos to be careful, that so they don't, to avoid them being used, their blood being shed again for the unity of Nigeria. Then my question is, yes, my brother, we feel you. You are right. But what did we do to deserve people telling us that they're going to take CHIUKWU, that they're going to take the city that is called by his name, that they're going to destroy the children of the Most High, all of us, babies, children, new generation, innocent. We didn't, whoever dwelled or dealt with, even an average Igbo person that doesn't find them to be very, very fun people. It's a question we have to ask everybody. Who do we go to their line? Even when our people all over the Levant, Abiama and his family, his people, even Yahush, whenever they get oppressed there, where do they go? They go home. And they tell you, oh, they went to Egypt. No, they went home. Sometimes they go Egypt, and they go home and return. They're not going to Egypt. Egypt is a hostile community for them. Egypt that kicked them out of the line that they ran away from. They passed through Kush, through Kevin, through Mesarem, which you call Egypt. And they go home to that corner there. The Cameroons, Western Cameroons, they go there to CHIUKWU in Abia State. What they call Abia, the geographic expression Abia State. They've created to steal the oil and gas of the people of the area. Now they're called Delta Niger, Igbo Niger, Bini Niger, Yoruba Niger, what you call them, TV Niger, TV Benue. This makes sense. So what if you are being killed and murdered? What do? You say stop, prepare, call, cry to the Most High. As we're doing crying now, but as everybody can see, it's working. Isn't it working? How many jet fighters and bombers did we use to bomb even Sokoto? What they do is they divided our people so many ways. They call the other section nigger, and they call the southern section Nigeria. Does it make sense? And they hide under France and Britain. And all the British people, the indigenous people in Britain and France sit down there being fed with the blood of the innocent. And they shut up. And that's where they get themselves compromised. But on all this, Amagada, they can tell you Armageddon or whatever, but Amagada, the nations will fail and when shall fail, and when as they have started failing now, everybody is failing it. So, as it is in Isaiah 58, tell your people they are evil. Cry out loud. Tell them evil. Because they know that because ekwesu means if you agree, it will ravage the place. But if he knows, if you say the truth, he will retract and think twice. So the Most High has taught us so much in hundreds of thousands of years that you cannot learn in 6,000 years. No. The gene lives on. Speaking of destroying, according to people like the Health Ranger, talking about the conspiracy to destroy black people. So, what will you rely on? Your life depends on these highly pigmented people with the pigment of CHIUKWU OKIKE. Your life depends on them. So if we want to have an Earth Summit without all these liars and cheaters and these, they know, you see their identity here. Where do they fit? Do they have me to call them devil? No. Isn't there? In black and white. And they're not only pigmented. People like Fulanis, leaders of the Fulani people, ravaging all over the, Africa with terrorism. Don't deceive yourself with black and white. That's a hoax. Therefore, Omihe Jidofo, everybody who does whatever they do have to be justified by the constitutions and the government that CHIUKWU OKIKE gave to his people, Igbo, to be the light and the salt to you, to all his word, to all his creatures, because the birds, the fowls of the air, the beasts of the forest, not to talk about Madokongla, who walks on 2 legs, with a skull that is supposed to have reasonable brain. Everybody is watching and seeing cakes and cartons of thousands, more than 70,000, 700,000, or 7,200 in one package. Not to talk about the ones with the wooden cut, full of nothing but the pennies, the source of creation of the CHIUKWU peoples of Chineke, the children of the Most High. And who is going to eat them? And where is that these nations, or these organizations, these big powers? Where are they? And noticing this and not saying anything, what does that make you? Who does that? What do you call yourself? Where do you feel in the list? Where do you feel in this list? Where do you feel in this list? Excuse me. Where do you feel? And then we're going to continue with this, the basis of this new narrative, because the old one, you know now that is shot. It's not working. It's not gonna function work. So you talked about your climatic change, temperature change, and the whole world going to be totally finished. You have a chance. We all have a chance. If we do, as I believe we do, we have to come back to CHIUKWU OKIKE to fix it. Because the old narrative of death, the old narrative of the characteristics and the identity of devil is shot. It's no longer flying. Stop patching it. When you have a plant or anything you using and you find it out totally useless, you figure out whether you're going to fix it or you're going to replace it. It is time to replace it. I will use, like I mentioned before, I will use the Sefer, the message to the black man, and also hold each and every one of us accountable with the version, the chapter 32, verses 21 in the book of Deuteronomy. Let's keep it Deuteronomy now, but later you're going to find out what that word is in the Igbo language. And he's the Most High, someone who created this great heaven and earth. How can he watch you to worship any other thing but him? Ojihofunogu, to be jealous. Because he said that if we keep in this rubbish, that he's going to put us under those who are not people. And are these people performing, acting this way as it is in this identity of devil? My father used to say, if somebody does something so ridiculously abominable, and you mention that person's name, he will tell you, mad. But that's not a human being. That's not human. So, whoa. Before anybody start crying wolf, if identified with that, inside in that identity, be you black or so-called white, so-called black or so-called white, so-called red or so-called white, you have yourself to blame. Don't blame this channel. Don't blame CHIUKWU OKIKE but yourself. Individually, as a group, or as a nation. Stop making CHIUKWU jealous. In the book of Yahusha, the king that lived 3,000 years ago, that led his people to the promised, our people to the promised land. He's told his people in chapter 24, you're not going to be able to worship CHIUKWU OKIKE. We can only worship CHIUKWU OKIKE with his help. In fear, truth, and trembling. For him to give us his spirit, or band, Ruach Akadede. and his mercy or love and power and his help, adequate help, and his repentance, which we pray that he put it in our head and our hearts, in our heart, the repentant heart that the devil doesn't have, the reprobate doesn't have, for us to live according to his will and be saved. And in Deuteronomy 28, verses 9, 10, there he goes, CHIUKWU OKIKE and told his people that if we obey his voice and do all those things he asks us to do in his constitution and the government, O Lord, that he will make the rest of the world afraid of us, because we are called by his name, Chukwuka, Nana, Chukuma, Nani, Chukwuemeka. And as I mentioned in the book of Deuteronomy, in the first session, as I mentioned in the first session, in the book of Chronicles 7:14, where he mentioned those things we have to do for him to save us and heal our land. And in the next session, we're going to go into the algorithm of the book of Isaiah 28, 7 to 11, on who shall he make, to understand the doctrine. Who shall he make to understand the doctrine? Excuse me. And also the book of 2nd Baruch 5:10, chapter 5 verses 10, and the Jeremiah 16:19, where the Most High, through his prophets, prophesied this day when he will at the earth to give up what is buried in it, what is hidden in it, the truth that has to be told. From being hijacked by the hidden, those who don't believe in him, neither in faith or acknowledgement. So, till the next session, I will say, all the glory and praises be to CHIUKWU OKIKE, Magawu CHIUKWU. CHIUKWU Eze. CHIUKWU is the greatest. And make sure you're watching all these videos section by section. Try to learn first rather than being an imposter, trying to copy and paste or copy information here to go to sell to make money first. Yes, you can do that, but you have to identify yourself first with patience and courage and the spirit of discernment from CHIUKWU OKIKE alone himself, to whom all praises and glory belong. And that's the only way, like Jimmy Cliff sang in one of his songs, saying, remake the world, oh Chineke, remake the world, because this is not what you intended for it. Remake the world. And who will remake the world if it's not the person, the entity that created it in CHIUKWU OKIKE? And what tool is it without the constitution and the government that he made with his Igbo people, his children, to shine as the light and the sweeten life as the salt. Therefore, with all that being said, till the next session, may we all be blessed. And remember to keep the holy the day CHIUKWU OKIKE, the Shabbat today, starting from yesterday. And we're not celebrating the days. We'll not be celebrating what is in the sky and in the, because that's for the hidden. But Eke.
This is loyalty legend Micro Barrow.
The Eke, CHIUKWU OKIKE, the day he made holy and sanctified. Peace be unto every watcher. Till the next session, I'll say, be blessed.